Hey friends, how you doing? Today's another day for the show. I'm Joe, and my guest today is the president, Montcalm Community College in Sydney, not Australia, folks. This one's in the great state of Michigan, God's country. Rural Michigan, folks, agriculture, manufacturing, and a community that really can't afford to lose any of their young people, right, to the big cities. Sitting right in the middle of this community college, it's fighting quite successfully to be the reason that they stay on point, on mission. Dr. Bradley Barrick is president of Montcalm Community College and an officer in the Michigan Army National Guard. Brad, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Joe. It's great to be with you.
This one's been a long time coming. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining. Uh, two
absolutely.
two very important missions going on, running simultaneously in your world. What is it like to be like you right now? Just finished commencement. What's going on?
Life is good. Yeah, in higher ed, we say it's the most wonderful time of the year, and
Put a
so
song to that.
that's right. And so just finished up, commencements, and get to celebrate student success, and really that's what it's all about. And so it's been an incredible couple of last weeks, and we've moved on to the budget, and so
Wah, wah.
good times here.
You go from balloons to I don't know what kind of a symbol that would be, but
That's right.
it's all part of it, isn't it? You build budgets that amplify this vision that you have and really double down on what's most important for your campus. So no less important than your commencement address, right? So, hey, let's put some context on the table. Michigan's rural community college are caught kind of in this triple squeeze. You've got fewer 18-year-olds. That's
Yep.
not just a Michigan thing, that's across the nation. You got state funding formulas that reward headcount,
Yep.
right? And you've got online competitors who don't really care about your workforce pipeline, boss.
Right.
And you're running a college that exists to serve your local geography and it's competing against institutions that really have no geographic obligation at all. That's the new game. So walk me through what that actually looks like from where you sit. What's happening in rural higher ed right now in a sector that a lot of people just aren't naming out loud?
Yeah, and so, I think you have to be very intentional and strategic as a rural community college. Um, my wife and I, we both grew up in rural communities, and so we just kind of have a heart for the rural community college. And honestly, there are a lot of rural community colleges across the country right now that are just struggling to kind of find who they are and what their
Mm,
purpose is, and you really have to define that. And you have to be very strongly committed to the community. And so, we like to say that we're the hub of the community, and
yeah.
so the center of the community. And really, we are in our county. We are the actual central location. We built the college. I say we are our founders in the very center, and so everything kind of in a sense revolves around the college. And so, in some ways, I like to frame it with the community is, if we didn't exist tomorrow, man, the community should miss us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there should be a gaping hole, right? And so, we really do. We try to be very intentional about that relationship with the community. We have some fun just lingo, right? Like Montcalm Community College, community is our middle name.
Right,
The
right, right.
community college, right? Community and college go together. We make the community better. The community makes us better. The community needs us. We need the community. So that's the language we use, right?
I love what you said about just we're smack dab right in the middle of our community. And if we weren't here, I didn't need to read your mission statement, but I
Yep.
felt it. I
Yep.
felt it. And I think that is the potency needed across every small college today is you better have a because statement at the back end of your mission statement that says, if we're not here, this community is going to suffer greatly. That's your mission statement.
That's
And
it.
and when you look at how most rural community colleges are responding to, let's just call it enrollment cliff. You're working on budget, and budget is
Mhm.
strictly tied to how many kiddos you have on campus. What do you see most doing that just is not working today?
Yeah, I think, we have to be extremely flexible, adaptable. We have to adjust, and you have to adjust, I mean, semester by semester. We don't have time to really uh, think things through circles where we're just kind of going in circles. We don't have time for those conversations. We know what works and we just need to do it. And so, we've really looked at different methodologies and approaches. Um, but, a couple of things, and they're super simple. But number one, we listen to students.
Hmm.
And number two, we listen to our community partners and our employers. And so, we're constantly having these conversations with hospitals and our, tool and die companies and et cetera. Hey, what do you need? How can we help? And is it through a degree? Is it through a credential, a badge? What best works for you? And let's make it work. And so,
Let me
um,
pump the brakes on the student
yeah.
thing for a minute, because that got my attention. Give me an example of how a student or student group helped in forming you to do some things differently or to do different things.
Yeah, and so that's something that I think we're really good at as a college is including students in conversations and really getting the student voice and giving the student agency. But it's a quick example is HVAC. So we have an HVAC program, but what we were doing it was taking these students an associate's degree, and it was taking 2 years and it wasn't fitting around their schedules. It was taking too long. And we could do the exact same thing in a credential that could be done in 6 months. And it could be done in a more flexible course offering where they could go at night and things like that, weekends. And now we get the exact same results in a quarter of the time and a
Wow.
lot cheaper. And it's all because we just listen to the students.
Did
And
you
I
have much pushback internally? Because oftentimes the student voice says, "Here's what we need," and internally the system says, "Well, that's not what we prefer."
Yeah, and I think, it depends, right? Because you do sometimes and it could be anyone, right? Administration, faculty, whatever, but
Exactly.
sometimes you have a faculty member says, "I don't want to teach a night class." Or, and so you have to kind of get everybody on board and on the same page, but at the end of the day, hopefully, right, it's we're doing what's best for students.
Yeah,
And I
and
think
that
that's
goes
what
back to that
drives
mission statement of, if we're going to
bingo.
continue to stay in demand, which
Yep,
I think is the new mission statement, in demand and profitable, and
that's
not real
right.
sexy anymore, but that's the new game, isn't it? And
Yeah.
how do we do that? We've gotta listen to our students. I think partnership is the new program, because the partners need to help us build what it is that is in demand and profitable today. So you're definitely on the right track. And I heard somebody say that you at one time you were the youngest college president coming into Michigan. Are you still the youngest?
I think so. I'm
Oh
not
my
sure.
god.
But yeah, it's
What gen is that? X, no. Boom, no.
yeah, I think I'm right on the border.
Are you
So
that are you that
which
millennial
which
college
helps me a
president?
little. I can connect with both generations. So
I love
I'm the
and you also serve in the Guard.
yeah,
And so military officers, they're trained, right, to operate in resource constrained environments. You gotta, like, do what you gotta do to just get things to where it needs to go. You're on mission, regardless of the conditions, right? And you know that failure has real live consequence to it. So
yeah.
you brought that wiring into community college. Um, how has that shaped the way that you lead, maybe differently than some of your colleagues that never had that experience?
Yeah, I think, obviously coming from the army, a little different leadership style, a little more hierarchy. And so some of that structure doesn't work in higher ed. Um, but I also think that the way that the military focuses on mission and really focuses on the efforts of a team. And so in the military, just a quick reference is, you have a commander. And then you have kind of what we call an XO, which is kind of just over everyone administratively. And then you have these different shops, and so you have an administrative shop and a tech shop, and a support shop, that takes care of the food and all of that. And so all of these shops, but you work together as a team, and it's a beautiful collection of teamwork. And we've kind of brought that approach into our leadership team as well. And every decision we make is collaborative. It's a team-based approach. Everybody has a voice. They're not afraid to respectfully speak up. And what we say is the best idea, or the best meshing of ideas,
Right.
wins. And so it doesn't matter who comes up with the idea. It doesn't have to be my idea, but whatever makes the most sense, whatever's going to be most effective, that's what we're going with.
I'm a little bit confused, and I'm not pushing against that from confusion, but the military, very hierarchical campus life today, like you said, is probably more like a circle than anything linear,
Yeah.
where you've got to have lots of ideas.
Yep.
And most campuses were built for a time that no longer exists today in terms of the decision making process.
Yeah.
So you've got standard operating practices of committees and councils that oftentimes just slow everything down,
That's
and
right.
your students are out there going, "We could use some help right now." So the dynamic decision making process is just a term that I would put to what you just described. It has to be dynamic. It's not about a power structure. The best collection of a solution is going to win for us. So, how do you build that into just the very culture that you're creating there, boss? Because that's truly, the people like us do things like this. You rely on your people to be healthy, reliable. So how do you shine a light on that?
Yeah, you nailed it. And I would actually describe our decision making process as very dynamic here. We're much faster than kind of our peers
Right.
at making decisions. And that doesn't mean we still don't listen to everyone's voice, and give agency to the different kind of circular process. But at the end of the day, we make decisions pretty quickly. And so I think we've made it very clear from a cultural perspective, like, you provide input, but really the decisions are going to come from me and our executive team. And so we've kind of structured it in that way.
Can I
And
burn on another time out here, coach?
absolutely.
Okay, so you said very directly that the decisions are made by me and my team. Not many college presidents can actually get away with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for us, that's a culture thing, right? We've built that trust. Um, but as far as hiring, we have a lot of, again, we're going to bring in people to help with that process, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that we're hiring the right person, and fit matters. Does this person fit where we're going? Does this person fit my leadership style? Does this person fit our culture? And so, that's how we've structured it. And I will say, like, that's taken time to build that trust.
And you need to, because that trusted voice needs to be heard by you as well, to know that this is coming from representation that maybe even knows what this looks like better than I do.
Yep.
So, you might be the youngest college president, but you might also not be the smartest college president, and you definitely need your team to be making just wise advisory decisions. I
That's
mean,
right.
advisory support that will help you with the only thing that I believe you need to do to keep your job, and that is to make great decisions,
Yep.
right?
I think there's a lot of things that we can delegate. All of us have strengths and weaknesses, and we can surround ourselves with people who can kind of compensate for those areas of deficiency. But there's one thing a leader has to be good at, and that's decision making.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a lot of decisions, but the decisions that you do make, you need to generally get those right.
Whew, we could actually spend most of the balance of our time together and schedule another one just to talk about the importance of decision making. I'm
Yeah.
sobered up anytime I come onto a campus and sit at the executive table and ask somebody, anybody in the room, to take a marker on the whiteboard and just draw me a simple picture of your decision making process
Yep.
and pretend I'm a 13-year-old kid because that's about my brain power. You have to simplify it to that level to ensure that everybody truly understands it. Because if it's not understood, then there's just this distortion and confusion, and it leads to toxic environments. And I believe that that is fundamental to why our systems are as broken as they are for the students that we're trying to serve.
So true.
Hey, friends, quick question before we get back to it. I know that you have talented people on your leadership team, but is your team actually performing to its full potential? Most aren't, and most don't know why. The Team Intelligence Assessment is a solution to change that. Find out where your team stands at higherperformancegroup.com. Go to find your starting point to get started today, or click the QR code in the screen right here. All right, back to the show.
So true.
We can put just a period on that. Tell me what's going on in the world of workforce for you.
Man, so much. This is, again, I think this is becoming a strength of ours as a college. And again, it's because we have a great team, but we're really focused on building partnerships, and we mentioned that word earlier. But I serve on the state of Michigan's board for workforce, and what we're talking about is going to our employers and saying, where are your where are your struggles with your employees? And so, for instance, we had one company say, I don't need you to help me with the technical skills.
Mm-hmm.
We'll teach our new employees the technical skills. In fact, you don't have the equipment to teach them that we're going to use.
Yeah, too expensive for you. We've got it over here.
Right. And
All right.
so let us worry about that. What I need you to do is teach them the social skills. I need you to teach them maybe a little bit about, HR, maybe a little bit about business practices, how to be a director. And so now we come along and we build a program for these companies, and we're giving them tailored solutions to their current problems. And so uh,
Interesting.
so that's been really, really powerful. And I mean, we're just now like ramping that up. Um,
So
but
again, talk to
yeah,
me from somebody that maybe doesn't truly understand that. I understand that if I come to your campus and I'm taking this program, it gives me the certification to be able to work over there. But they're saying we're going to handle the skill side of that, and
yeah,
you handle more the soft skills side of like we said, decision making, empowering others, building collaborative environments.
yeah.
So are these
Leadership, those
are these
soft, durable skills.
certifications that you're building? They're certs then that would just bridge over to the employer?
They are,
Oh,
and
interesting.
it's pretty fascinating. That's something that's kind of cutting edge, new for us. I just started this in the last year. And of course, we still do like, well, as we work with our healthcare partners, and hey, we need a program for this.
Sure.
And so we talk through it. We start that program. We'll combine it with an internship, and hopefully it leads straight into a job for these students. And so we do the traditional pathways as well, but some of the kind of the newer things are really kind of working with individual companies and building programs for them.
Customized programming.
Yeah.
Wow. That's gotta be where it's at today because I mean, higher ed is having to be as fluid, but we're still 3 planets away from where business is at in terms of just like on the dime having to make some
Yeah.
demonstrable decisions that don't look anything like we did 2 months ago.
Yeah, and of course it's disruptive, right? You're going to have employees, whether it's faculty or whoever, are like, we don't understand this model. We've never done it this way. I've been here for 25 years, and why can't they just get an associate's degree
Right,
like they
right.
always have? And so again, you have to navigate that in a way where you appreciate the efforts that they continue to provide, but also kind of lead them down a new path or bring in new talent that understands the direction and the vision that we're trying to go. And so it's kind of again this weird kind of
Mm.
messy and you kind of have to just work through it. And so that's what we're doing.
So working across the state, but also just living there locally, rural community college have a. I think they have a perception problem that it predates you. It
Yep.
predates uh, maybe even the founders of that campus. Uh, the assumption is that if you're serious about education, and as a former high school principal and a former school superintendent, we would shine the brightest light on our 4 years, especially the
Yeah.
ones going to the real fancy schools,
Oh yeah.
right? So, at minimum, community college in a city where the job market justifies your credentials. I mean, if it's not a 4 year degree, but you're leading a college where that perception battle is fought not just against that national narrative. I'm sure you're helping to rewrite a lot of that, but against the local culture, maybe that tells kids, hey, the way out is to scoot, to scram, to leave. How are you building that case for staying?
That's so good. The value proposition
Yeah.
is I think it's our biggest fight right now in community college and especially rural community colleges. Um, and I completely agree. And I think one thing that's been really cool with this last maybe 10 years in community college, higher ed in the landscape is that um, community colleges are no longer just a second option. It's not just a backup plan anymore. Hey, if it doesn't work out at the University of Michigan, come to Montcalm.
Right.
Now it's really a viable first option because it's the best choice.
It really is.
It's the best choice financially, the best choice for student supports. It's the best choice for classroom size and kind of interaction with peers and your faculty and your success coaches. And so, I think I made a comparison a few months back to like a luxury car, buying a luxury car. You can get the Lexus, but you can also get a Toyota Camry, and they're basic
Corolla. Corolla, my friend. Most reliable vehicle on the road since 1980.
and they're basically the exact same car.
They are.
And
Right.
so it's just, do you want that, that branding? But the simple truth is it's going to get you where you want to go.
So true.
And and so I think
How are
that's
you
been
building
really.
that case? How have you built that? You've built it to your board, obviously, but how about to the state legislature, to your community for the resources that MCC needs in order to continue to scale and thrive? Uh, and what's changing in those conversations?
I think it's a few things. And one is just the data. The data backs us all day long. But the second one, and I know it's simple, but it's student stories. The art of storytelling,
Oh, so good, so good.
we just let students share their lived experience. And they always, no matter where they go after they leave Montcalm Community College, they always say Montcalm Community College was the best experience in education they've ever had. It always trumps Michigan State, any of the regional schools. They're like, Montcalm was my best by far experience. And so we just let our students speak. And I think allowing them, a couple weeks ago, we took a number of our students to the Capitol just to talk to our local delegates and just letting them share their stories.
Mm.
And some of them were, we've taken alumni and graduates and just letting them share their story. It really does the work for us.
I'm sure somebody has run this data, but if you look at House, Senate, representatives, if you could just draw a data map and see how many of them actually had a 2 year experience. My guess is there's not enough of them out there that have that understanding,
Yeah,
right? And that loyalty to the data really just shows here very, very clearly. We all have biases, and our biases come from our own
that's right.
experiences. And Wow, and we need it's probably a new generation to actually just create a entirely different foundation that is just common sense. Let's
Yeah,
just build a common sense college. How about that
mm,
one? If we're gonna do a startup, there it is.
that's
So
it.
common sense, you're building something that, uh, might be somewhat overlooked in other
Yeah,
counties across Michigan.
yep.
Is what you're building in MCC, and I know that you're so ambitious. You've got big vision, and
Mhm.
I know you understand just the limitlessness
Yeah,
of the potential.
yeah.
Um, is this a model that can scale to other community colleges? Can you export what you're doing and sharing that with your colleagues across Michigan?
And you said it really well. I think if there was one word to describe our college, it's potential.
Yeah.
With our team, we say it's the land of opportunity. And yeah, we struggle with not having enough good ideas, but prioritizing
Mm,
ideas.
mhm.
And so um, I think how it's scalable is reminding ourselves that we have to stay human centered, and that while we want to be all about student outcomes and student success, that if we'll just take care of our people will take care of our students. And
So
so if we'll
good.
take care of our employees and we give our employees an amazing experience, then they will give our students an incredible experience. And so, I've always looked at leadership through that lens of influence and impact. And really for me, I define my success by the success of the people I'm privileged to lead and serve. And so talent development to me is really my focus. And so I'm constantly trying to pour into our team, build new leaders, and really inspire, motivate, but also open doors that maybe traditionally have been hard for people to get into those rooms and have access to certain peoples, and give these people that are working here opportunity. And so that's been a big kind of conscious effort on our part. We want to not only be a great place to learn, but a great place to work. And so that's been a huge focus for us.
Yeah. I mean, they're your best people, your highest capacity people are staying because of the culture that you're building, or they leave because of the culture that you're building. We've all had experiences there,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna move this. Was that fun or what? That was
that's awesome.
we're gonna have funner. We're gonna move this into the funner category
Okay,
category now. Okay, we do a lightning round. Okay, we take
let's
everything
go.
that we might mistake you for being superhuman, so we got to just make you as human as possible. So let me ask you a few questions. First, a quote that you live by.
Oh, so I'll pivot a little bit. We just did an exercise where we had all of our employees pick a theme song that describes their life or their
Oh
leadership
boy.
style.
Oh boy. We're
And
gonna get a theme song,
so
folks.
So I went into AI and I said, knowing everything you know about me, what song best describes me? And it picked a song by Tim McGraw called Humble and Kind. And
Ah,
I loved it because I'm a Southern boy from Oklahoma. And so it picked a country song, but basically it talks about how no matter how ambitious you are and how many goals you set and how many, mountains you climb, always stay humble and kind. And I think that really does depict my leadership style.
mm. How about worst advice you've ever heard on leading people?
Uh, um, I think maybe more in general is when we use people to get what we for personal gain. I've seen it, I've lived it, as far as working for a leader like this, and I think that is the absolute um, just it's just a gut punch for me.
Yeah, a transaction
And
is so much different than relational leadership. You
yeah, and
get it. You get it. How
I,
about the
I
best
do.
best advice? Best advice. Let's pivot there.
Yeah, I think the best advice is, um, man, to truly care about people, and the relationships. And for me, like we've kind of talked a little bit about this today, but like we care about the whole student, but what if we cared about the whole employee?
Yeah.
We provide supports for students. What if we provided supports for employees? And so, for me, I think my leadership advice is just to stay human centered, to stay relational in our approach. Don't be so caught up and consumed in processes or in results that we forget that if we take care of people, the results will take care of themselves.
Right there. Do you hold any unpopular opinions?
Yeah, I think, and maybe it's just because I'm from the South, but I do think at some point, and I'm not a huge political guy. I would honestly consider myself to be kind of a moderate, but at some point, higher ed has got to figure out a way to become bipartisan and work both sides of the aisle. And I don't know what it looks like, but I would love to see us work towards that.
I think there's a roar of applause happening right now as we speak, boss. All right, Michigan guy, go blue or go green?
Honestly, neither. Man,
Neither.
again, I'll take my Oklahoma Sooners, Boomer Sooner, go OU. So, but yeah, it's definitely a thing here. So,
Okay. How about something you've changed your mind about recently?
honestly, I think a great leader has to be able to change their mind a lot. And so, man, my mind gets changed almost daily, and I allow my executive team to really have that ability to speak into situations and into strategy. And if again, if they have a great idea, or if they see something like, "Have you thought about this?" or "What if we did it like this?" Man, you got to stay open and nimble. And so, I think my mind gets changed every single day with our team.
Love it. How about a career decision that you'd make 10 times over?
Honestly, coming here, Montcalm Community College, I was 41 years old, and just was ready to learn how to lead, and so I'm so glad that I took this decision to come here and be a president, and I would do it over again in a heartbeat.
You are well placed, my friend. If you weren't running the college, though, what would you be doing?
Yeah, I still have an incredible passion for the military. You know, I served as a chaplain in the Army, and there's nothing like serving our country, our soldiers, and their families. In many ways, there's a lot of crossover between helping students at a community college and helping our younger soldiers and their families in the military.
Love it. How about a word or a phrase for MCC's future?
And the sky's the limit. And we've got great people, a great community, so much support here. And I just want us to continue to you know invest in our people and in this community. And I think the return on investment is going to be a hundredfold.
That's a wrap on the lightning round, folks. Bradley, everybody, we ran over on time because this time just kind of eviscerated here. This was such an easy exchange, and just the lesson that I'm picking up. Um, I think that rural talent drain, that belief that making it means leaving. You're changing that narrative. It's a demographic fact, right? It's a belief system, and belief systems get built or they get dismantled, right, by the institutions that sit right smack dab in the middle of the community. So I think if you're a community college president, maybe you're a chancellor, or just somebody that aspires to be leading in systems like this, the question isn't whether your community deserves uh, that kind of commitment. I mean, you can splash it on your web page and put it on banners. I think the question is, are you leading like you really believe they do? It is a belief system, and humble, hungry, and smart. This individual, yeah, yeah. Just thank you for spending some time with us. If people want to learn more about your institution, is it montcalm.edu?
Montcalm.edu. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, Bradley Barrick. And if I can, thank you for all that you do, all your
Oh,
services, all your content, but
mm,
maybe most importantly, you're an encourager. And man, we need that more than ever, especially in the higher ed space. And so thank you for all the encouragement you provide to all of us.
Thank you for calling out the calling. That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us, folks. That's the show. Peace, and keep your dukes up.